Welcome to Freedom Motivated with Christina Whiteley, the podcast that empowers you to live life on your terms. Are you uninspired, bored, and unhappy with where life has taken you? And yearning for a life filled with purpose and passion? Look no further. We are here to ignite that fire within, to awaken your true potential, and to guide you on a journey towards absolute freedom. Join us as we delve into the minds of incredible entrepreneurs and freedom leaders from very different backgrounds with incredible stories. Be inspired by their resilience and learn from their challenges they faced along the path to success. These are the brave individuals who fight every day to awaken people to the power of self-responsibility and who inspire them to create a life they are absolutely in love with. Each episode will explore the concept of conscious income creation, building a business or creating a career that aligns with your unique skill set, purpose, values, and belief system. Discover the strategies, tips, and invaluable insights shared by our guests as they guide you towards making a living doing what you love. It's time to break free from the shackles of conformity and embrace the freedom that awaits. Are you ready to take control of your life? Are you ready to step into the life you've always dreamed of? Then welcome to Freedom Motivated, the podcast that will ignite your spirit and unleash your potential. Hello, my friends. We are here with another episode of Freedom Motivated with my friend Trey, Bearor. And we're going to talk a little bit about his business today, Digital Cash Flow Lab, which is really exciting. And I'm excited to share with you what they do for people. But the reason that we're having this conversation is Trey put up a post the other day that I very much resonated with, right? People that are out there and they're like God-loving, good human beings, but they don't trust the government and they're willing to sit around behind the scenes and talk about how we get ahead, right? Because that's really what this is about, is that we were raised in this environment where, you know, we're supposed to be so trusting, and we go to school and we get good grades and we get a degree, and then we go into a job that's going to take care of us and pay our bills. And like, what are people facing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are losing jobs at an alarming rate. Their job, right? Little air quotes I'm going to put up that you may or may not see if you see the video, right? But like, their job is not keeping up to inflation. It's keeping them broke. It's keeping them in a system that is not allowing them to win. And, you know, we're for the people. We're for freedom. We're for creating that lifestyle for others around us and helping them live outside this box, which is not meant for everybody, but it's meant for us. And so we're here
Amen.
to have a big conversation about that. And Trey, I would just love for you to introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about your family and you know, like, where you guys are and where you're at, and a little bit about your beliefs and how this digital cash flow lab came to be.
Yeah, and that's funny is like I'm thinking about rechanging that name because the whole like digital currency thing, I don't want that to be a flag for people like, yeah, I'm all about it because I am not about that life. But yeah, so Christina, I started in network marketing about a decade ago, and that's where I like caught the flu of building something of my own, having my own schedule, and like living this free life, right? That no boss life. Because like again, like I was at that point where I was going to be a New York State trooper, right? And like New York State trooper right now, like what they're going through, like I back the blue like crazy, but man, I couldn't imagine like if they had my message, I would say, go get them, boys. Like, don't let them scream in your face and spit all over you. Like, tag them, bag them, get them out of there. But like that's what I was waiting to be. It was like I was just waiting to become a New York State trooper. But at that time, I was introduced to online marketing, and that's when I was like, holy cow, I can make money online. Like this is kind of amazing, right? And so I decided, like, when it was time for me to become a New York State trooper, I got that call. I was like, no, like I love this idea of being my own boss. Like I was probably a year in when I finally got that call, and I was like, sorry, I'm going down this route. And boy, I pissed my dad off like crazy, but like I'm so grateful. And to this day, he's like, yeah, I see why you did what you did. So yeah, I was in network marketing for a while. Then I started dabbling in creating my own courses, my own coaching programs and stuff like that. I've been really focused on that for the last 5 years, and now helping people do the same. And then what hit, and everyone can realize, like, everyone can like see what happened, but COVID hit, and like that
Yeah.
to me really opened up my eyes, being like, man, I was so dependent on the system and the man, and all this stuff, food, pharmacy, like everything. Like I like, even though COVID was like such a, like, the world lost its mind, it was
Mhm.
such a huge eye opener. Like if it wasn't for that, I would be like, yeah, whatever the government says, I agree with. They're probably doing what's best for me.
Totally.
No, our food is totally clean, right? No, they don't want to make us sick and dying because that's not proper at all. Like I'm so grateful for that because like I was never into politics whatsoever. I thought it was all negative and I don't want to hear that stuff, right? But now it's like, no, I want to be involved. I want to hear what's going on because it's our children's future
Yeah.
that's, it's gonna really affect. And so yeah, I mean, like the last 5 years or 3 years has, like, just been a whole different change, like, we left the suburbs, we bought a plot of land, we have our own garden, we're raising live like, I never thought I would be considered, like, a farmer, you know? But, like, I am, I'm like, "No, we're growing our own stuff, we're raising our own meat, we're having eggs, like, we're doing this." And, it's been beautiful. I've come to Christ, like and, like, everything has changed, and it's all really because of what COVID hit, but that's just a kind of a nutshell of what
We'll
has
get
happened in
into
the last
it.
decade. Let's
We're gonna
go.
get into it. We're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. And first of all, I love, like, I was the same thing, right? Like with network marketing, that's how we
Mhm.
met actually.
Right.
And I was the same way. I was like, you can make that kind of money being at home. You
Mhm.
can like create a self-sustainable income around your own schedule and not have to answer to anybody. Like that was a huge awakening for me. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting you talk about being a cop in New York. Oh my gosh. Like I
Mm.
can't, I've seen videos and so we get down here in Mexico, we get a lot of Airbnbers. We get people that come and visit, right? And a couple months ago, we had this guy from Minnesota. And I say it like that because I love their accents so much. And so he was a cop there, and he's like, you wouldn't believe the shit we have to go through. Like, he's
Right.
just like, this is not the job I signed up for,
Right.
And he's like, now I'm here because I can't quit, and I'm going to continue to infuse my beliefs into the system, and I'm going to continue to stand my ground. But he's like, this is the hardest, this is not why I got into this career,
Right.
And so I feel for people that, and same with my brother-in-law. My sister's husband is a firefighter, and he got into it to save lives, to make a
Mhm.
difference. And like,
Mhm.
that's not, they save drug addicts that have OD'd for the fifth time that week, that they've seen the same person over and over and over again. Like, he's like, this is not the job that I thought I was getting into. And it's
Right.
really disheartening when you hear that. And isn't that the truth when we get into certain careers? And I don't believe that those are mistakes. I just believe that it's God bumping us in a different direction, right? Like, it's
Yes.
just like, oh, nope, this is not the right way for you. This is not the right way for you. And COVID, people look at it as something like that the global elites, if you're awake, have
Yeah.
designed and to create this one world order and how we're all going to function together. And it was a huge, but I believe that in the same at the same breath as that God put it in place to wake people up.
True.
Right? Like in
Amen.
the same breath, because I say that COVID is the biggest blessing. We never would have had that big push to move to Mexico and like start a new life. And most people don't take those risks because it's scary to start over. But like, what if that thing is the thing that's going to catapult your life in a different direction and like change the way that things are? And so I remember this quote from Garth Brooks, and he probably took it from somebody else, but he said, with every blessing is a curse, and every curse is a blessing.
Mhm.
And I was like, that is so the truth, right? So in this process, when we moved out to the farm, I'm very, I want to talk about this life that you've created for yourself. When we moved out from the city to the farm, we did because we saw what was happening. We saw the writing on the wall to like the homeless being an issue. And we didn't want to raise our daughter in downtown when there was drugs and all this kind of stuff. Like, it just wasn't safe anymore. And my noni came over from Italy and had it like almost a half-acre garden until she was
Mhm.
100. Like, she grew all of her own food. She lived to be 103, by the way, and like drank,
Wow.
a small glass of wine at 11, a small glass of wine at 3, grew all of her own food and had a great life. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I think she actually had it right.
She knew what to do, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And we've lost all those things because we've
Yeah.
trusted people to take care of us. Here's a drug that'll solve this problem. Here's a pharmaceutical thing they'll solve this problem. Or hey, we'll just give our kids, and I don't know if this is happening in the States, safe drug kits so
Mm.
that they can do drugs safely in high school. I'm like,
Oof.
what the hell is happening? Like, these are not people that are taking care of you. And so tell me the decision for you and your wife and your family, right? I see beautiful pictures of your kids. Like, what a beautiful way to raise your family,
Yeah.
right? Tell me the decision that you had to come to move out to this big piece of property and start growing your own food. Because did you have that modeled for you, or like what made you
No.
decide to do that?
No, so all right, so 2020 hit, right? People
Yeah.
lost their damn minds,
Mhm.
and I don't know what it was, but, like, I immediately just started being like, "Okay, like, let's learn about politics. Like, what's going on with all this stuff? And like, I didn't know about God or Jesus or any of that stuff. Like, again, I was very like, just plug in. Like, I was very in the system, right? Like, just show up, do the work, go, right? Um, but then like
So
like things
you
just,
weren't, sorry to interrupt. You weren't
yeah,
raised like religious or anything. So like you
not at
never
all.
had that in your life. Okay.
Not at all. I was
Interesting.
not a farm boy or anything like that either.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I want to live somewhat close to the city so that I have access to Target and I can go to this places and all this stuff, right? Like we're at now, like there's not a Target within an hour of here, you know. So, and this is where I'm from. Like I'm from where I live right now. So yeah, so the world went crazy, and I started just like realizing, okay, like something's not right. Like there's this big push to do all this thing, and like I'm kind of grateful for network marketing because I learned marketing,
Yeah.
and like I started looking at what was happening as this like big marketing scheme. Like, how can we get all these people to just scare the shit out of them to take this thing, right? And like
Yeah.
it's like that's to me, like that's all it was. And I was looking at all this stuff, being like, does anyone else not see this? Right. And like people were like, no, we gotta stay 6 feet apart and we gotta do all this stuff. And I was like, no, this is all bullshit. You can't tell me that because I'm standing and you're sitting and there's this plexiglass thing and this little thing on my face that little virus can't get through that. Like that does not make sense. And so I was losing my mind and I just started like looking at things differently, being like, okay, our politics, like that whole government thing, like they're not here to protect us, right? Our food, I started realizing like, holy cow, like our grocery stores are filled 90% with garbage that we didn't have this stuff 50 years ago. Maybe that's why all this disease and all this stuff and people are fat and lazy. Like maybe this stuff is intentional. And it just kind of opened up my eyes, being like, well, what else is there? Kind of like like I was just going down all these like crazy rabbit holes and I was just really being exposed to being like, whoa. And so, I realized I was like, you know what? Like we need to get back to our grassroots of like making our own food and all that stuff. And so I remember when it was like at that tipping point where people were like, you can't travel unless you have this shot. You can't do this without that. And I was like, babe, we got to get out of here. Like, and like we
I
lived in
felt
a,
that. I
yeah,
felt that.
yeah, I was like, I am not getting forced to take this thing that I don't agree with. Like, especially for something that is like probably not going to really hurt. I might get a cough, right? Like that sucks. But like, and it's just and like you started seeing all these other like doctors coming out being like, no, this isn't that bad. You can actually take this. And then you could see the government being like, don't take that. That's a horse thing. And it's like, no. I see you. I see
They
what you're
made
trying
it
to do.
illegal. They made it illegal. They fired doctors over it in
Right.
Canada.
Right. And so it was like, how can you not see that this is just a big ploy to like gain control? Right. And so I saw that and I was like, all right, okay. And again, it exposed so many other things. So I was like, all right, let's start with getting the hell out of the suburbs of this very liberal city. Okay. And we did. I was like, all right. I remember telling my dad, who, my dad, he always knew like I wanted to be close to somewhere near the city so I could have access to more resources. Whereas up here, there's not a lot. There's just not a lot. And I didn't really understand that. But when when we were at that point where we're like, yeah, we want to build our own house or we want to buy a house or we have our own land, like where we were looking, it was like $1 million, Christina, to like buy a 1 acre plot of land with building the house that we wanted. And I was like, no way. No way are we going to do that. We will just be tied to debt for so long. And so I asked and again, so the world's going crazy. So I asked my dad, I said, hey, look for a plot of land up near you that I can have a good chunk of land and I can raise the kids and I can build a house within an hour. He's like, I got you something. And it was
He's
so
so
funny.
excited you guys are coming home.
I know he was like, oh my God, he got to see the grandkids. He got to see us. Like he was so
Totally.
pumped. But what was so interesting, Christina, was at that time I was praying. Like I didn't know of God or anything like that, but I just knew I'm going to start praying. And I started thinking, and I started saying, God, like, this is what I want. I was like, I can see what's going on in this world. I know I can see the corruption. Thank you for shedding light on this. And I said, God, I'm so grateful for this. But God, here's what I'm looking for. I want to get my kids out of this and I want to get them out into the country. I want
Yeah.
them to be getting dirty like I was.
Yeah.
And And I remember saying, this is exactly what I want. I want a long driveway. Like I painted the picture and I said it out loud. I was like, I want a long driveway with trees going along the side, a big lawn that my dog can run on. And I said, I want this path that goes to this big chunk of land that I don't have to pay taxes on. It's some farmer or a hunting club or something that I can be a part of. I can run four-wheelers on, all that stuff. And I prayed for that, not just once, but a ton of different times, like almost daily. And when dad found that land for me, guess what there was? Whole big old driveway that we put in, whole all the trees along a big lawn. And then right next to it was this path that brought us right to a hunting club that we are a part of. It's 2,000 acres that I don't pay taxes on, but I have complete access to, can go fishing, run four-wheelers on. It is just a God thing, is what that was. And so, yeah, we decided we bought that, we purchased that, and everything was like working so smoothly, like it was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I asked my buddy, I was like, hey, I know you live about an hour away from me. He's a contractor, but I was like, want to build me a house? And he was like, screw it, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, yes. So then, went to the bank, that was approved. He signed on, and we just started looking at plans of what we wanted to build, and it just all happened. It was beautiful.
You guys want some neighbors?
Yeah, come to the US. It's awesome here.
You're like, so it's so interesting. I have to unpack a lot of these things, okay? Because
Yeah.
they're so similar in the stories. Like it's so interesting how we all wake up differently. And so we were living in Victoria, like very close to Victoria. We moved out to the country, right? Because it was a very liberal city. And we're just like,
Mhm.
nope, not raising kids here. And one of the things, like you said, when we went through COVID is like, why can't they see what I see? Why can't they
Right.
see? And here my husband and I have had this conversation multiple times. And I just really believe that it takes strong people to be able to see, process, make decisions. And it's hard for people to see, number one, because it shakes the foundation of how they were raised and how they were brought up. Like it breaks everything. It breaks you wide open, and it is
Mhm.
devastating when it happens. It is like so devastating and raw, and it's really hard for people to go through. The second thing is now that this whole mass propaganda of the mass shots and all that kind of stuff has gone through, now it's not only shaking the foundation, but now they've got to evaluate what they've said yes to. And
Right.
that's a very scary thing as well,
Yep.
right? So you're just like, okay, this is horrible. What's
Mhm.
interesting about what we're talking about is a couple of different things. A lot of people, they use debt. Wealthy people use debt to build their wealth sometimes, right? Like, and actually, Robert Kiyosaki is one of those people that is like, nope, just use debt, get as much debt as you possibly can, and buy a bunch of real estate and all that kind of stuff. Whereas we kind of went the other way, like you, and we're like, no, we want to be debt free. We
Mhm.
don't want it. We don't want that hanging over our head. We don't want anybody to do that. And not to say that there isn't a time and a place for those other things, and that may help in down the line. But right now, in this debt cycle, in the way that the world is, for us to feel free, we needed to be debt free. We needed to make
Right.
some really hard decisions. And a lot of the time that means putting your ego at the door and
Mhm.
saying, I'm not going to listen to this. I'm going to listen to what's truly being called God, right? Like
Mhm.
Ryan was never religious, was never raised. I went to Catholic school growing up, so I did have some of those things, but I think that kind of counterintuitively worked against me sometimes.
Sure.
But he was never raised that way. And all of a sudden, like a few months ago, he's like, Christina, I have to tell you something crazy. For the first time ever, I like prayed to God, and the next day this happened.
That's
And I was
awesome.
like, I know, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about here, and I literally had a conversation with my friend Jenny Potter this morning about this exact thing for an hour on manifesting is with God. People think that manifesting is like a froofy, like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to imagine it's going to pop up, which sometimes it does.
Mhm.
But manifesting or co-creating with the universe is God, right?
Mhm.
Like they get all confused and like, oh, you can't manifest if you believe in God. But yes, you can. They coexist. And just like you said, you like visualize, this is what I want, the long driveway, the property with this backing on. We did the exact same thing with our property in Canada, and it backed onto forestry reserve. So nobody would ever build there. There was hundreds of
Right.
acres there, right? Like we're just like, how do we? Well, because that's what we manifested. That's what we
Right.
asked for. That's what we prayed for, right? And so you see all of these things when you actually have intention and like, this is why I want it. And it's in alignment with your belief system and your faith and your family and your values. All of a sudden, the path is cleared for you.
Mhm. Hmm.
right? Like all of these things start to show up. You have a buddy that's going to build you a house. That's why I said, like, I don't know where we're going to go. We want to be in Mexico for 8 months of the year and then 4 months of the year somewhere else. We miss our forest. We miss
Yeah.
trees. My husband miss hunting, like all that kind of stuff. So we don't know where we're going to end up yet, but we keep praying for that, and like this is what we want and how it wants to come. And so when it comes, and it'll be
Right.
there for us, right? So I really I so align with everything that you were saying. We're so like-minded in this waking up of the world. And so now I want to like move into
Yeah.
how we started in network marketing, and then we were also in a mastermind together in
Yeah.
a right. So we started thinking bigger than this. And by the way, I'm not saying bigger than network marketing. Like there's a lot of
Sure.
people that make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and I'm not putting that down because I do believe in that the idea of that. And if that's one of your streams of income, I am a firm believer of residual income, but there's multiple ways to create
Hey, that's
residual
right.
income, right? So tell me a little bit more about how you guys evolved into this and what you're doing now, and how you help people.
Yeah. So, and I agree with you. I think network marketing for me at least was an amazing stepping stone into what I want to do. Like think about it. You learn marketing, you learn sales, you learn leadership. Like those are great foundational pieces that you need as an entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
But for me, what happened was I had built this network marketing company. I was one of the top earners, top recruiters of that company, and everything was peaches. I was like, "Holy shit, Christina, I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life." We were taking trips to Europe for 3 weeks, like we were just living like kings. So yeah, we were saving money as
Ballers.
well. But yeah, it was like a complete shift from being like, I'm making $500, a month or whatever my job. Now I'm making
Sure.
10 grand a week. Like, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
Um, but then what happened was, that business really started slowing down and slowing down, and you'd see other top leaders shifting and going elsewhere. Like that's whatever. It was no big deal. But I stuck. I stuck with it. I was like, no, I'm gonna pioneer this bad boy. And but something in the back of my head, like I kept thinking, like, but what if something happened and the company shut down? Like, what if
Yep.
the FTC closes down? What if
Yep.
the company, like I've heard of owners getting sick with cancer and being like, hey, look, guys, we want to fight and focus on battling this cancer, and we're just going to close the doors. And people are like, what? And so it's not like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, but like things can happen where a company closes their doors, they
In
change their
every business.
compensation.
In
Yeah.
every business.
Right, and it's like it sucks because there's nothing you can do about it,
Yep.
right? And so for me, I had a 1-year-old son at the time, and I was like, "What would happen if we lost everything?"
Yeah.
And, and one day we actually did. We went from the highest highs being like, "We're balling," to being like, "What are we gonna do? What if we become homeless?" Like what's gonna happen to our 1-year-old son who has to sleep in his car seat in our car because we can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, but luckily what I had, and I really do believe this was God pushing me, being like, "Hey man, you gotta, I need you to go this direction right now." All right. And I didn't understand at the time. I really didn't. I was like, I'm losing focus on my building my network marketing company, right? It's shiny object syndrome. Um, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna start building my own course, right? And so I had a lot of people asking me, like, Trey, how do you make your videos on YouTube? And I never really thought like, I'm gonna be the YouTube guy. It was just, you know what? I heard Shalene Johnson saying on a podcast one time, hey, if you have a lot of people asking you about this one thing, turn it into a course, make some extra money, happy students, more income, everyone's happy, right? So I did, and I launched that thing and I made $1,000 just from launching it. And I was like, I wasn't a millionaire or anything like that. I didn't have $100,000 launch, but it showed me like, whoa, I could create something of my own from scratch, from things that I love to do, that I'm passionate about, knowledgeable about, making videos. Maybe I can actually turn this and I make 100% commission from it rather than 30% for my network marketing thing. I was like, what if I could like make this not replace my network marketing income, but at least have some kind of stability where if I were to lose my network marketing income, which all my eggs were in that basket,
Hmm.
if I were to lose that, at least I can lean on this and have something a little bit more sustainable. Because that's the thing with network marketing. Again, like I'm not down. I'm not saying network marketing sucks or anything like that. I'm a firm believer as well. But like You do. I had all my eggs in one basket. There were times where one month I was making great income. The next month it was like, "Ew, you gotta save some money. Black Friday's great. Then, in February, it's like, oh boy, oh boy. So you do, as a leader, you do go through those ups and downs of network marketing income. And again,
Yep.
I just had that fear of what would happen if it were to be taken away. And so that's when I started getting into the whole digital marketing thing before this whole master resale rights was cute and fun and everybody else was a digital marketer. Like, I was selling my thing back in 2017. I sold another course about Instagram as well. That was a $7,000 launch. And then I sold another course back in 2019. And it wasn't until that course that I was like, wait a minute, I want this to be my full-time thing. Like, this is what
You
I want to
found
go
it.
all in. Yeah, I don't want to just launch it once, make some money. I want this to be my daily payment. I want this to be my main gig where I can wake up to sales. I can go out and be in the garden all day long and, oh, I just made a sale. Like, I want that. And so that's why I really learned how to scale, go from I'm making this amount of money to being like, holy shit, I was making 50K months with this, right? And that's a beautiful skill to learn, because no matter what happens in this world, if you learn that skill of how to basically make your own ATM machine where I can put money in and money coming out, that's a beautiful thing to learn, right? So you
Amen.
can pivot, you can adapt. You'd be like, well, I don't want to make a course on videos. I want to make a course on homesteading. Well, you just learn the skill of how to make 50K months, do the same thing that worked, right? So like that one I was like, man, like when COVID hit, I was like, I'm feeling pushed to teach people how to do this, because it's going to help them follow what they love, their passion, the things that they're knowledgeable about, make their own damn income where they're not dependent on something else. Again, love network marketing, but you're kind of at a risk there as well by doing that. And so why not create something of your own that you control, that you make your own money from? That's where I was like, I'm going to help people do that. I pivoted, right?
That's true freedom. And like that's what some people, you say, okay, I'm an independent business owner, I'm an independent
Right.
distributor in network marketing, but you are at the whim of the company, right?
Right.
And these companies are made to make money regardless of you making a ton of money, right?
Sure.
And comp plans change. And by the way, this happens in corporate America too, right?
Yeah.
Companies grow and grow and grow, and then they downsize the people that they paid a lot, right? They get rid of a bunch of people. They just did this massively in Canada with TELUS. Like, they got rid of 6,000 employees, right?
Mm.
So huge multi-$100 million company, billion-dollar company. And like, these things happen when you work for somebody else. No matter what, you are an
Right.
employee, right?
Mhm.
And even though you've got your time freedom and all those kind of things, and again, we're not bashing network marketing. I'm still in it. I love it. I love the product. I love who I work for, but I am not going to put all my eggs in one basket. And one of the things that I do respect about the team and the culture and community of what I'm doing now is that they teach people how to create wealth with the money they make. Because what
That's
happens
nice.
in network marketing, and they teach marriage retreats and family retreats and all of these things. I know it's pretty awesome. They
That's
bring all
wild.
these, I know, right? Like, because they look at this holistically. And I
Mhm.
think that that's so important, because what happens in network marketing, especially if you're good at it, you make a shit ton of money, and then you're, like you said, you're in Europe for 3 weeks, like living the high
Mhm.
life, right? Your cost of living goes through the roof because you're like, I am a millionaire and I'm making so much money and I'm going to have the best life ever. But you don't look at the future. You think it's like the gravy train forever
Mhm.
until something
Mhm.
happens with that company. And that's
Mhm.
why, there are people in the industry that have been with the same company for 30 or 40 or 50 years. There are also people that have had bad things happen with their company, and it shifts and changes, and they've had to make a move and start over. So it's just another business model that allows you residual income.
Mhm.
Now, unless you are in control, you don't own that right to print money, and the government's printing money, so you might as well learn how to do it, right? Like,
That's right.
you might as well figure this out. And the other piece of it is, what I love about network marketing is that it allows the average person, doesn't matter what your age, your race, your education level, to create an income that allows you some sort of freedom. It's not going to, it won't discriminate against who you are. If you have a work ethic and you're somebody that wants to grow and learn leadership and learn how to communicate, it is a great learning process that you get paid for. Now, what we're talking about is for people that are highly motivated,
Mhm.
in that industry, maybe in other industries, probably in other industries, actually. Let's like not make it so pointed, but like people that are highly motivated, they have a certain skill set that they can monetize, right? And I remember saying to our friend Danelle, I said, the biggest gift that you ever gave me was teaching me that I could make money with my mind, that I could make money with the things that I know up here, because that is your freedom. And if
Right.
you are somebody that continues to grow and to learn and to pour into that, then, and put yourself in a position to win, and put yourself in a position with people that are just, maybe 5 steps farther than you, maybe 10 steps farther than you, and you grow and expand your life, then you end up teaching higher level people different things. And here's what I loved about what you said, is that you're like, I tried a course, it was, I launched it for $1,000. I tried another course, I launched it for $7,000. I tried another, this was my life work, right? Like you found, and that may change, right?
Yeah.
That may change, that may grow, that may continue, because what I learned is that it's not about this big grandiose picture of your life. It's about what's the next right step for you. And you had to try multiple things. Most people would have done $1,000 launch and thought, well, it wasn't the $100,000 launch. I guess I'm not cut out for this.
Right.
Right? Like that's the idiocracy of like what people think in this world where we have instant gratification, that they think that they are entitled to $100,000 launch their first time.
Please.
Isn't that right? Like that's exactly what happens. And they think they're entitled to all of this money without having to become a person that is able to create that income.
Amen.
Right?
Absolutely.
So there's this massive shift that you have to go through and learn. And you found the thing. You found the thing that you're like, this is the thing. This is the hill that I'm willing to die on. This is the thing that I want to teach people. This is how I want to make an impact in this world and see this ripple effect through all of these amazing entrepreneurs. This is how I can help them. And then you took that thing and made it big, and made it bigger, and tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it. And most people never start that big thing because they want it to be perfect.
I know it's irritating. It's a lot of things I see as well.
Right. And especially with entrepreneurs, because they're like, oh, I didn't do this, or I must not be. No, it's because you didn't do it long enough to make it successful. And you didn't bring in, like, I think that really the difference between a 6-figure income and a 7-figure income is all of the stuff on the back end that is a pain in the ass, that you do very well, by the way, that is a pain in the ass that like breaks most creative people's brains that have all of these ideas, and they can't stay focused on the boring, mundane stuff that is going to bring them to that next level of customer service. It's going to bring them to that next level of automation, is going to bring them to that next level. And so one of the things that we were talking about before we hopped on was this MRR, which is a master rewrite course. So basically you buy a course that teaches you how to do something, and then you resell it for what you bought it for. That's what it is, right? And so although I believe in education, there has definitely been times where I bought courses and never opened them. Like there's definitely been times that I've spent $500 and never even opened the course, right? And then there's also people that are out there that are selling the dream of making money. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference between, yes, people need money right now. Yes, and especially in network marketing, we're taught make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month, with people need right now, right?
Yeah.
But when you sell people on a result based on income and not based on bettering people's lives, whether it is a product or a service or an education, you're constantly going to be chasing the dollar, and you're going to get burnt out, and you're going to be hopping from one thing to one thing to one thing. I heard Alex Hormozi say this, that if you are somebody that is constantly chasing the dollar and trying to make money, and you're sacrificing your purpose and mission in life for it, right? And you don't have clarity on that you are giving up big long-term money because of the fast, quick, easy money. And so do you want to talk to me a little bit about, like we both, and like, we're not saying anything bad about the MRR, like the Masteria. Okay, you go ahead. You tell me why, because like, I know that there are people out there, and this is what irritates me about it, is that people are out there selling an income. They're not selling how they can help people. And so talk to me about this, and how, and like why what you do is so different.
Right. And they're selling the income, but they're not going to, but what they don't show you is how are they going to sustain that income? Okay. Because like made $2,100 in 3 days. It's like, cool. Do you know how to keep doing that? No.
That was just my warm market that was just bought today.
Bingo. Those are just people who are following me, but now I got to tap into people who don't know me, who aren't going to give me their card information that quickly. So now I'm screwed. But here's the way I look at it. It's like, and it's just like with network marketing. Like if there's anytime I get pitched something, I'm like, all right, number one, does this align with my mission statement and my brand? If it doesn't,
Yes.
then that doesn't make sense,
Yep.
right? Sure, like I could sign up with something today, probably make a buttload of money, but if it doesn't align with the people that I'm serving, I'm not going to sign up for it because it's not going to help them, right? It's not going to help me. It's not going to help them. So I'm not going to do that. And I think with MRR, I've heard the content is great. Okay, like what
Yeah.
you learn,
Yeah.
I heard that's awesome. I didn't
Go
buy it. I've
learn.
heard
Go
that.
learn.
Right, but I could have easily said, "Oh, okay, this is a done for you thing. I will just scrap what I'm working on and trying to teach people how to do this and just do this." Okay. But like I got thinking about that, and it's like the thing that aggravates me the most about these MRR people, they call themselves digital marketers. And it's like, dude, you know how long, how much money I've invested, how long and how many late nights that I've put in to learn how to be a digital marketer. So you motherfucker, you bought a course and now you're instantly a digital marketer. That's like me saying, "Hey, I have no idea about plumbing, but I'm going to buy this course about how to become a plumber. I bought it, now I'm a plumber and I can teach you how to become a plumber." It's like, "What? You're not a plumber, you're not a digital marketer, right? Like, stop it." What's gonna happen if someone comes to you being like, "Hey, this is a problem to me." I don't know. Is it in the
Uh,
course? No, I don't know. I can't help you with that, right?
yeah.
So that really does bug me because I put in so much time to learn this craft to help people for you just to be like, "Yeah, I bought a course, now I'm a digital marketer," right? So that's one thing that really irritates
I
me.
get it.
Number two, it's that whole thing where it's like, again, it's that fast money. And I made this post the other day about how master reseller rights is for it's only going to teach people how to become lazy. Oh, I can't remember the post I made, but it
It was
stirred
a
the
good
pot.
one.
Yeah. It was like you're just lazy. I can't remember what else it was, but it's gonna last longer. It's not gonna last as long as the flavor and bubble gum or whatever like that was. But it's true. It's like you're lazy because you're like, oh, I don't have to learn any skill. I don't learn how to make this money myself. I just have to be dumbed down and I have to just resell this thing. Cool, here you go. Boom. Right. Um, it just doesn't teach you anything. But what I'm teaching my students is like, look, you have a skill, a thing that you're passionate about. Let me show you how to turn that into an asset that can be making you money while you're doing all this other stuff, right? You just going and reselling a course, like you're just like everybody else. You're just going to be just that other person. What's going to make me want to come to you if all you guys do are just selling the same exact thing? Like what makes you different? And so I want to teach them to build something of their own. And if they decide, later on down the road, so just like I did, I want to pivot. I want to change. I want to go in a different niche or a whole other industry. Take the skills that you just taught, that you were just, you just learned, and now readapt them. And then boom, you can still keep that cash flow coming in.
Yeah, and what we're talking about is education is never bad. Like
No.
learning a skill is never bad. So if you buy one of these courses and you go through it and you take the information and you apply it with your own ideas, as opposed to simply reselling somebody else's program, then it's a
Hmm.
different story if you're using it as an education, right? But
Hmm.
like you said, you've spent tens of thousands of dollars, probably $100,000, maybe
Yeah.
more, right? On,
Yeah.
on the skill set that you've learned because you saw a need in the marketplace, you truly wanted to help people. But what if somebody came and said, "Oh, I had a problem with this. How do you do it?" Right? And so there's a short-lived cash flow that comes
Yes.
in with I mean, do you remember the Transact cards that were around for 30
Yes.
seconds?
Did that close down?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I knew it. I knew it. Okay.
I knew it would too. I
Yeah.
know because now you have discernment, right? Like okay, for me, I don't know. I'm a small town girl. I
Same.
was like shiny objects, money. I never thought I could make over $100,000 a year. I wasn't raised that way. But when it was presented to me and I could and I did, and I was like, holy shit, there's more to this, right?
Hmm.
Then things changed a little bit. But what it comes down to is that this short-lived money, and you have, as you grow in business and leadership and create a personal brand, which I think everybody should do because then you can sell anything that is in alignment with your audience, right?
Amen.
So when you don't go along with that and you don't know who you are, you don't know what your values and beliefs are, but you're chasing that dollar, it's very short-lived and it's exhausting and it confuses your audience because you're in a million different directions. But if you learn how to find things that serve your audience at a most basic level, like you said, you meet people, you meet entrepreneurs, and this is how you help people. And I want to hear a little bit more about like how you help them and what you do for them.
Mm-hmm.
But you take their ideas, you take in essence who they are and what they know, and you help them create digital products. You help them create something that they can use as residual income, that they can
Yeah.
have long term, and something that, like, there's their legacy. You help them
Mm-hmm.
create a legacy for who they are, not selling somebody else's product.
Right. Right.
Correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. It's, um, and again, I don't want to bash MRR, but I have those beliefs because like I know what it's like to be like, well, I got to sell this thing, and it's like, okay, it's a one and done thing. But like, and I believe this podcast is a lot about freedom. And for me, I'm like, well, okay, if I'm going to build a business, it needs to align with my values and my beliefs and like the type of business that I want to create. And for me, it was like, I had all these people out there saying like, these are the rules you have to follow if you want to build this business. This is the rule you have to follow this. And I was like, no, Danelle actually taught us like, you
No
make your own
rules.
rules. Yeah, no rules. You
No
make the rules,
rules.
right? And so I was like, amen. Okay. So if I want to build this business, I want my business to wrap around my lifestyle, not my lifestyle wrapped around my business. Right. And that's a huge problem that I see people making, that when they come to us, they're like, I'm making good money, but I can't enjoy it. I'm wrapped around so many consult calls all day long. And I'm like, that sucks. Right. So for me, I was like, when I'm building this business out, I want it to be where I'm out in the garden, I'm out playing with my kids, I'm out on the boat, I'm out whatever, I'm doing something out there and money's still coming in. I can still build a business where I'm not wrapped to doing sales calls all day long or one-on-one calls from 9 to 3, right? I did it was like, I'm going to do one coaching call, maybe 2 coaching calls a week. I'm going to be very intense in there. I'm going to give them everything that they need so they can crush it the rest of the week. That's how I wanted to build my business. Right. And so like, you don't need to do the one-on-one calls. You can do group coaching instead. You
I
can,
love group coaching.
I love it as well. You make
It's the
such a
best.
bigger impact than one-on-one.
Yeah,
You're one of
I
many.
agree with you. And
Yeah.
you learn from each other, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. You actually, a lot of entrepreneurs have the same issues and like mindset issues or challenges. And if it's in real estate or it's you're an actress or you're an electrician, you're still going to face all of these different roadblocks. Like, do you have an exit strategy? How are you going to retire? Right? Like you got to
Mhm.
start thinking about all these things. And I want to also address, we're not bashing either network marketing or MRR. I'll tell you, like I said, I'm still involved in network marketing. I'm a firm believer of having that as a stream of income because I like residual income. It
Right.
saved my ass more times than not,
Right.
right? But you're not in control. And I will tell you, I bought MRR. And you know what? If it makes sense for somebody I'm coaching and the information in there makes sense for somebody I'm coaching, I'm gonna be like, you should buy this course because I learned a lot from it. Not
Sure.
because I'm making $30,000 a day doing it, right?
Right.
But because I'm like, wow, this will really help you in this journey where you are in entrepreneurship. So the why behind what you do is so impactful.
Mm.
Now, I love this conversation about group coaching because I find that one-on-one coaching is a lot. I
Mhm.
think that you need to charge a heck of a lot of money for your time and energy. And also, like, I'm curious how you guys, and I want you to share this because I think it's important that people hear all different ways of marketing. When you say that you have people coming in, you're in the garden, you're making money, and you're coaching a couple times a week, I love that. I think there's many people on this podcast that's really like, how the hell is he doing that? How
Mhm.
do you find these people? Where are you finding these people for your business? Like, how are you
Yeah.
marketing to them?
So there's two ways we're doing it: organic content like Instagram, YouTube, or paid advertising. Okay.
Beauty.
And like my philosophy too is freedom. Like I want freedom. So I am very much pro paid advertising because why would I not pay money to use speed to get in front of my exact target audience with the exact message that they want to hear when they're ready to hear it, right? And they can come in as a lead. From the lead, we can turn them, we can nurture, and we can turn them into buyer, client, or a done for you, as well. So student, client, whatever. So that's how we're doing it. Is number one, we're putting out content. I have like right now I'm revamping my YouTube channel because I'm kind of a maniac on YouTube. Like I'm myself, we'll just say that, right? Um and so like YouTube is such a beautiful platform for me because there's content that I posted 5 years ago that's still bringing people in. They're finding the video and they're seeing it and they're being like, aha, hearing call to action saying, I want to go talk to this guy, or I want to know more about what he has to offer. Whether it's lead magnet, webinar, whatever it may be, that's doing all the lead generation and bringing me in money as well. So that's one way. Another way, like I said, is the paid ads. I truly believe like that's where true freedom comes in because Like it's the ATM thing. I can put $1 in, $4 comes out. Now, obviously, use that at scale. I can put $100 in and $400 comes out, and just keep rinsing that thing where you know your income predictably, right? It's more sustainable. Hopefully, Zuckerberg keeps this thing going, but you do start to look at your numbers and saying, aha, I noticed that when I put this amount in, I get this amount out. And that's so satisfying because you know your cash flow, right? And that there's freedom in that as well.
I got to talk to you about that when we're off air. I got to talk to you
Oh,
about
fun.
that a lot because, you know, a lot of people, and like people ask me about paid ads versus not paid ads. You're going to kill me for this, but I've done
Oh,
everything organically for the last
yeah,
8 years,
yeah,
everything. And so like, I want to light that on fire
yeah,
and use paid ads. And now I had some bad experience back in the day because I'm like, oh, let's just put some ad dollars and I'll get some clients, right? Like that's what people
right,
think. Should I put ad dollars behind this? But you have to have a proven
yeah,
post or a proven method and be able to
right,
test. It's not just, I'm going to put some ad dollars behind this and see it explode. Like it's a process
yeah.
to
Boost this
bring
post.
that.
Money.
Thank. I know, but like how well designed was that from Meta, right? Like, oh,
Yeah,
yes, sweet. I want to boost this post. And like, how much
yeah,
money did they make from people pressing that button?
yeah,
Really?
exactly.
Right. So
Just
that was brilliantly designed. But like,
right.
this is the thing. So that's what I wanted to talk about real quick before I let you go, because like,
Yeah,
honestly, I could talk to you for hours.
we could.
I usually only do half an hour podcast, but we're like coming up on the hour because
Oh,
we're having
nice.
so much fun. And so, if you are somebody that wants to place ads and you want to, you know, you've got proof of concept, you have a business that you've made some money with, and you want to boost those ads, I definitely want to make sure that you connect with Trey
Mm.
for that situation. But you know, do you want to talk a little bit about that, like why understanding that is so important as opposed to like hitting the boost post
Yeah.
button?
So first off, I'll let you know, like, I have a client who's making $100,000 months with 2 offers. She does a workshop 3 days out of the month. So that's all she does is just, I'm doing a workshop for 3 days out of the entire month. After that workshop, she sells in a whole other offer. So there's 2 offers, right? She works 3 days out of the month. Obviously, she's on like a coaching call and stuff like that, but to sell her thing, she runs a workshop. Okay? And
I
the
do
way
that
she
too.
gets traffic to this workshop, all TikTok. No paid ads whatsoever. It's kind of like a, how the hell are you doing that? But she showed up religiously for 3 years straight posting content. So she has the audience that just love her shit. Anything she puts out, they're like, money, money, money,
Money.
right?
Hmm.
So we've recently have convinced her, like, please start using ads. Like, please do this. And I think she kind of came on board when they're like the whole TikTok ban thing came in, right? Which is like,
Sure.
okay, I'm listening now. And I bring that up because I, just like with network marketing, I don't think all your eggs should be in one basket
Hmm.
on social media as well. That's why I say I also post on YouTube. That's organic. I also post on Instagram, right? Organic. I also post on TikTok. Organic. But I also know the power behind paid ads. And and so I'm not saying like, hey, paid ads is the only way, because we have clients who are crushing it all organic content as well. Hit me with that question again, so I make sure I'm addressing it.
Oh, so when you're wanting to expand your business with paid ad, why it's
Yeah.
important to do like what you need to do and why like it's important to work with people that know what they're doing because it's not just a push boost
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the
So
post.
like, so here's what we do. So like, I'm not the big ads pro. Like, yeah, I know we got to make some content, some different creatives, and we're gonna push it out, see what does well, what hits, what doesn't, and all that. And like then you can really go from there. But we have a coach, an ads coach on our team that's like, not only does he run our ads, but if you're like, hey, I want to join the program, he goes in and will critique your ads so you constantly know, based off these numbers, this is not working well, this is working well. Do more of this, right? So that's the beauty of that. If you're like, I want to really get into ads, but our whole process with running ads is like, okay, we're going to make a bunch of creatives, whether it's a post, a video, whatever it may be. We're going to push it out there to a target audience, and we're going to see which one performs the best.
Yeah.
Out of, let's say, 10, 3 of them really hit. Okay, turn off the other 7, go all in with these 3. From there, okay, which ads are doing well? From that, push that one even further. Now we've got a winning ad where we can see how profitable we are. And you really know the numbers game. You always hear it's just a numbers game. There's your numbers game right there,
Yeah.
where I spend this amount of money. This is how many leads I get from that. Here's how many booked call, join webinar, join challenge. From there, how many people bought. when you know that, Christina, it's just beautiful. Like, for example, I ran a webinar live every week. And it's so nice because I know my numbers to a T. I know that when I have 100 people watching that web class live, I'm going to make 10 grand. So every Thursday, I'm like, all right, how many people do we have? Sweet, 90 people. I have a 10% conversion rate. I'm making 9 grand. There's so much freedom in that. You
Yeah.
can't like not love that. And then again, it's like, well, all from here on out, it's not being like, well, maybe it's because I'm not good looking, maybe I'm too hairy, or I don't know what it is. If you know if you know your numbers, you know your income. And that there's so like I love everything about that. So I'm very pro paid advertising, but I'm also very pro organic as well, because when people see my ad, are they going to buy right then and there? Probably not. But what are they going to do? They're going to snoop and see, who's this Trey Bear guy? Maybe they'll find me on YouTube. They start looking at that, and the nurture sequence starts to come in where they're like, damn, that video was good. Damn, that video changed my mindset or my belief about this one thing. And I'm just inching them closer and closer and closer to becoming a buyer. So they work both together amazingly.
I love that. And that's what I wanted you to explain, is that most people think, oh, just get out this banger ad and I'm going to make millions. But entrepreneurship is trial and error. It's literally failing forward and saying, oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. And you want to do it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And so it's like the opposite mindset that we're raised with is like good and bad, right and wrong. It's like, no, we want to hit all the bads first so we can get to the good.
Yeah.
And we don't beat ourselves up. Like I've noticed that difference. It's been really interesting with my husband, because I have really poured into personal development for the last few years. And there's a difference between us, which is now, we're working on with him, because when I make mistakes, I'm like, oh shit. Okay, not going to do that again. I'm going to do this instead. Okay, moving on. And like, I've forgotten about it within 24 to 48 hours. Like I'm not, whereas he's thinking about it 6 months later. Right. And he's just like, well, that time that we lost this amount of money. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're going to lose tens of thousands of dollars on your way to 100,000. You're going to lose $100,000 on your way to $1 million. You're going to use $1 million on your way to 10 million and 100. Like you're going to lose money in this process of entrepreneurship. So let's not lose as much and learn instead and move forward faster. Like, let's go, let's pick up the pace. Right. And so I didn't recognize that for a really long time, until we had this conversation. And all of a sudden he was like, oh, I don't want to make this move because of this. I'm like, because of this 6 months ago?
Right.
What? Right. And so we had to have this conversation to keep up. And so now the personal development, he's like, I don't want to get left behind in this, because that was just always my priority. His priority was taking care of us, which that's why I married him. He is the best human on the planet. He's my best friend. He's the person I will die next to. Like he is the guy for me. He takes care of me. And there's very few people in my life that have ever taken care of me. And so he's it. But I was over here growing and growing and thinking this way. And I was like, now we need to grow together. We need to have this partnership, right? Because often in partnerships, there is somebody that is like the reasonable one. And we need a reasonable one in our lives, right? Because we're out here being the dreamers and like we're flying off into space and we're like, what about this? What about this? And so the dynamic of that is also really powerful in your relationship. And because I see, and the reason I want to bring this up is because I see you and Kaylee working together very beautifully in raising a family and how you do that together.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. Just like you said, do less of what doesn't work, do more of what did, right? And there's a really great lesson to learn. You keep doing more of what worked well, I don't see how you can fail.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Trey, thank you so much for being here with me today. This has been an excellent conversation. I am going to touch base with you on moving forward with, well, when I'm ready to pump out. I'm still in that newborn stage of my life with my baby.
Stop.
So I'm just like, oh my God. But like one half of me is like, let's just sit here and cuddle for all day. And then the other half of me is like 90 miles a minute going this way. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to more conversations with you on this topic and lighting business on fire with you in the near future. So thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Christina.
You bet. That's another episode of Freedom Motivated. Thank you so much for being here. Share it with a friend if this meant something to you or you found it very valuable, and we will see you again next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of Freedom Motivated with your host, me, Christina Whiteley. We hope that the stories we've shared today have sparked a fire within you and ignited your passion for living life on your terms. Remember, true freedom lies in the choices we make and the actions we take. So go out there and embrace your journey. Take the leap of faith, believe in yourself, and never settle for less than what you deserve. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the Freedom Motivated podcast and never miss out on our upcoming interviews with more incredible entrepreneurs and freedom leaders. Be bold, be brave, be disruptive. You are capable of things far beyond your wildest dreams if you just have the courage to go for it. Thank you for being a part of this incredible community. Until next time, may you always be driven by the desire for freedom and motivated to make your dreams a reality.